I feel that achievements have lost their meaning. What do I mean by this? Well, recently I have gotten all the achievements on the game you're seeing before you right now, Hot Lava, and some of them were really meaningless. Some of them were jump a certain amount of times. Jumping is one of the core mechanics to this game, so of course there would be one based around it. Some of them were completing all the trials, like fully completing them, or completing every course in a map, or whatever. Then there were ones that were completely meaningless. For instance, there is You Monster, which is about taking the little pug that is randomly somewhere on a overworld map into a level and throwing him into the lava. When you think about it, this achievement is meaningless. It is literally just doing something random to get a reward. However, I think that something that would be more pertinent would be getting all the stars on every map, which theoretically would be more of an achievement because it means that you've studied and learned the maps to enough of a point to where you can complete all of their challenges with ease. Essentially, you can get every star on every map. Thus, you should receive an achievement for it. And this brings me to my point. Achievements have lost their meaning. It's stupid. Most achievements are now just busy work. Certain people haven't even the reason some achievements are so rare is because some people don't even think to do the things that are listed in them, and the reason why some achievements are so common is because they are something that literally everyone will do. For instance, the achievements for in the Master Chief Collection for completing the levels. Of course, you're going to complete a level. Of course, you are going to play through and complete the level of a game that you like. For instance, I have all the ODST level achievements. Sure, there are different versions of them for completing them on different difficulties, and yeah, it's kind of there's kind of like, oh, I got the master difficulty achievement before I got the normal difficulty achievement. But then again, now that I think about it, I don't even think I'm thinking of a different game. It wasn't fucking Halo that did this. It was Payday. Payday has achievements for completing heists on different difficulties, which makes sense because the difficulties in Payday are absolutely fucking obscene. But once again, why have achievements lost their meaning? Well, what is the meaning of achievement? It is to complete a very arduous task for a sense of accomplishment. So, older achievements would be something like kill X amount of enemies in Y amount of time, usually a very small time window. Um, I know this isn't a very old example of this kind of achievement, but in Titanfall there is one for killing. Uh, I forgot how many grunts. It was probably something like 80, because I don't think in the campaign there appears more than like 80 grunts at a time, and that was like the very fucking end section we were with BT. So, um, yeah, like kill X amount of grunts in Y amount of seconds was the achievement, I'm pretty sure. I'm not gonna check. I know it exists because I don't have it, and this is the bane of my fucking existence. But essentially, there are achievements for doing very average things. Like completing tutorials. You should not be given an achievement for completing the tutorial. I don't think that is something that you necessarily need. The tutorial should be something that anyone going into a new game should complete. I know there's the whole thing of, well, I have legacy skill, therefore I should be able to just skip the goddamn tutorial. This is not true. Newer games may add newer systems while removing older systems. So, for instance, in Skyrim, you don't set up your stats like how you would in Oblivion or Morrowind. And in Oblivion and Morrowind, you don't necessarily have as much of a tutorialization as in Skyrim. The entire opening level, the entire opening Helgen escape portion of Skyrim is essentially a tutorial, and it's fucking weird because even after you complete the tutorial, there's still more tutorial, and I'm pretty sure there's an achievement for escaping Helgen. It's stupid because Skyrim has examples of good achievements and it has examples of god awful achievements. Like, why would I get an achievement for editing the appearance of my character in the Radaway? Or in the fucking bar in the Radaway, the one under Riften, there's a chick there, and if you've become if you have like one of the beast modes, like you started the quest, you have to make an entirely new character, or become cured, so that way you can, because she'll fucking say something about your character being inhuman, and she's been like working with inhuman things, or I don't fucking remember because I rarely ever have to edit my character. That's the exact thing that I'm saying, because it's like, it's such a basic thing, and it makes no sense, so therefore people don't do it. And thus, I believe that 100% completion of a game has become more and more meaningless. Like, oh, congrats, you got all the achievements in this game? Wow. The fucking tutorial must have been so hard for you. Completing all the main storyline missions must have been so hard for you. I'm so sorry. You seem to, you know, not be very aware that, well, achievements just don't mean anything anymore. Sure, you can say that the whole point of 100% completion is showing that you put the time and effort into the game to show that you are an authority on it, so that way you can say, I have 100% achievements in blah blah blah, thus I know what I'm talking about. However, that can be replaced with time played. For instance, see the Team Fortress 2 community. From what I've seen, it is now physically impossible to 100% Team Fortress 2 because certain mechanics were removed or got bugged. So now, rather than using achievements as a form of show, instead people use hours played. Whereas it would make more sense to put matches won, but there's no actual like measurement for matches won. So hours is the best we've got. And you can have a person who has been playing for, let's say, 80 hours, who is better than someone who's playing for 1,000 hours because they've spent those 1,000 hours in fucking Jailbreak. So, while that Jailbreak player may have more knowledge when it comes to something like Jailbreak, they most likely don't have much knowledge in the base game, whereas that 80 hours player might have been, during that entire 80 hours, studying up and learning about the game. Once again, achievements are completely useless in this scenario for discerning the actual skill of a player. Do I think that achievements should become more about achieving skill? Complete a level in X amount of time. Play through this section without dying. Do this, do that. Should there be a real meaning behind achievements anymore? Well, yes. I believe that achievement should show that you actually achieved something difficult to achieve. Rather than being, oh, congratulations, little Jimmy, you completed the fucking tutorial. Now go play the rest of the game and realize that you're getting achievements left and right, and they don't fucking matter. I've seen people who still go for 100% completion of a game, including achievements. And really, it's just to say I've 100%ed the game. And the best indicator of that is to have that nice little badge next to the game on your Steam profile. And that's it. For instance, technically, I've 100%ed Hot Lava. However, I have not gotten all the stars, I've not gotten all the collectibles, I've not gotten all the cosmetics, hell, I haven't even fully leveled all the characters. I'm doing that right now. but I technically, in the eyes of Steam, have 100%ed Hot Lava in 66 hours total gameplay. Earlier than that, actually, because I did it a couple days ago. It it mostly just comes down to the game having a bunch of useless achievements that don't. I just feel like a broken record. Achievements that don't mean anything. There's something anyone would do, or there's something fucking one person would do, and they would be like, "Oh, hey, yeah, look at that, I got an achievement." It's fucking stupid. Reaching a certain level should not lead to achievement. I was playing Dying Light earlier, right? I got that game a while back, and there was an achievement for jumping off the crane in the tutorial. Now, I don't know if there's an alternate path where if you wait long enough to jump off the crane, the fucking guy is like, okay, you can just come down. You can just walk down, pussy. But if there is, then it's not very prevalent to see. Because, quite frankly, in a parkour game, where you're probably going to be expected to take great falls, especially since there is a skill later in the game, from what I've heard from the person who helped me out with the opening section of the game and helped me with any questions I had, a person who has essentially been playing the game since launch. Once again, there's the actual achievement. I owned this game since it came out, therefore I have more knowledge and am more of a authority on the topic of this game. But essentially, when I said, "Oh no, don't give me an achievement for that," he was like, "Why? You just jumped off a fucking crane like 3 stories up. You're not a pussy. Congratulations. Here's an achievement." And my rebuttal was basically this conversation that I just don't think that is necessarily worth an achievement. Just like how reaching a certain level should not be worth an achievement. I think that reaching the maximum level should be worth an achievement. For instance, let's say reaching the maximum level in generic RPG game gives you the achievement True Hero or whatever, as a symbol of your dedication to heroism and blah blah blah. Achievements in old days were represented by medals, usually for war or humanitarian acts. For instance, the Medal of Honor, where you're like, hey, you did something really good for people. Here's a Medal of Honor. This should show as an undying representation of your humanitarian efforts in Eritrea, let's say. I don't fucking know. I haven't heard very many Medal of Honor speeches recently. I'm sorry. But I want achievements to return to actually meaning something. I would like for them to show that I have achieved something, rather than it being, oh, congratulations, you've completed the tutorial. Or, oh, you've done this one random thing that no one would understand. The one good example I could say of that, oddly enough, comes from my personal favorite punching bag, Ubisoft, where in Far Cry 3, for Far Cry 3, rather, there were commercials involving this actor dude, I don't fucking remember his name, and the guy who did the acting for Voss. And at the end of those little series of commercials or ads, he buries the guy up to his mouth and leaves him, and he eventually dies. And here's the fun part, even though his likeness isn't in the game, you can find him in the actual game world. And you get an achievement for it, for going up and interacting with this guy's head. And I think that is a good achievement. You've shown that your commitment to the game to where you're even willing to find a reference to one of the fucking commercials for it. Now, this sounds like a bit of hypocrisy. John, you were just saying that you don't want there to be achievements for random bullshit that anyone could stumble across. You want achievements to actually mean that you put time and effort into achieving something. Yeah. Personally, I don't think that someone's first thought when they're running down the beach and they see a head sticking out of the goddamn sand is, oh hey, I'm gonna go up and interact with that goddamn thing. Maybe some people's are like, oh, maybe I could talk to it, and it'll tell me that the fucking bad guy was like, hey, I'm gonna kill your fucking family, and you need to give me all this money, or I'm going to kill you next. And then he was like, no. But, um, I do think that is a better random thing, like random reference or random object, than going to the fucking Radaways to edit your character and accidentally soft locking yourself out of it because you decided you wanted to make a sorcerer or a mage vampire. And yes, that is a very specific example because that's what I did with my first playthrough of Skyrim, and it was fucking stupid. And yeah, it's probably my fault. I should have gone and read all the achievements before going for hunting for them. And maybe I should have just made a completely new character to go for the rest of the achievements that I didn't already get from completing fucking story missions. Just me. Is it literally just me who thinks that this should be the case? Does everyone want a fucking participation ribbon? You know what? I think that's the case. I think everyone wants a participation ribbon, and none of them want to admit it. Whatever. I'll just keep crying about it.